Lambs are always an exciting thing about summer, but I have to tell you that this is probably one of my favorite sights of this particular season. And just take a moment to watch this whole process, and then we'll talk a little bit more about it. There's something innately entertaining about watching a dung beetle roll a ball of dung. For those of you that perhaps for whom this is a first time seeing this, that is the male jumping up on the top every now and again to look where he's going and then pushing frantically along. And the female is the one clutching onto the side and seemingly not actually contributing much to this process at all. That's not entirely fair, though, because what she does is she makes sure that the ball is not completely spherical, which makes life difficult. Oh, buddy. Now what? Oh, no, that's going to be even worse. Oh, no. Oh, is he going to dig? No. Now what on earth are you going to do? Oh, yes, the female clutches on. Oh, he's going to start digging it down. Oh, that is so cool. Oh, we're going to get to watch him bury it. This is wonderful. Where are they? Okay, there they are in reality. I'm just going to shift forward a little bit so that we've got a view of the whole process. I love watching this. One of my favorite things about summer. And we're just going to scoot off here and watch as this process begins. Now the female clings on, and as I said, make sure that the ball isn't spherical, so that if he does lose control of it, particularly if he spent the last half an hour or so of his day trying to push it uphill, if he does accidentally let it roll, the fact that she's clinging on there, she essentially acts as a stopper. What's going to happen here is you can actually see the whole process, and it's surprisingly quick for such a large ball of dung. We've seen this process before. Look what she's doing. Patting it down, making sure that the dung ball is covered with dirt to help to hide the scent, and also to make sure that it's quite hard and solid. So, for our new viewers, why on earth are the dung beetles doing this? Well, she's going to lay, or she probably will have already laid her eggs in that ball of dung, which provides the perfect nutrient start to her larvae's life when they do hatch. And if you catch a moment to see her in the sun, look at that gorgeous plum color that's shining through. And one of my favorite dung beetles to watch. She's patting round and round and round. Now, the male has managed to seduce her by rolling such a spectacularly big dung ball that she's decided that it would be the perfect home for her offspring. And now the two of them have to work in tandem. Look at the strength involved here. He's sifting huge amounts of dirt to bury that dung ball. And all the while the female's going pat, 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 pat. Oh, this reminds me of the last time we watched this, and it must have been almost a year ago. I love dung beetles. They are one of the most fascinating creatures. They're unbelievably strong. Part of the same family that is home to the strongest beetle in the world, which is, of course, one of the rhino beetles. And I can't remember the exact figures. Perhaps some of you can remind me. Oh, there he emerges. No, go back to your digging, she seems to be saying. He looks a bit disoriented, so would I, if I'd just been completely covered in dirt. Back down, back to work you go. Oh, he's pushing it right out of the way so that he can dig down. The female's desperately clutching on, but not once does she stop. Uh-oh. Patting. Okay. Right. So obviously that wasn't the spot then. He must have hit some hard soil, or perhaps he just decided that that wasn't the safest place. Whee! David, have a quick look. You wanted to know which is larger, the male or the female. It depends on the species of dung beetle, and you can actually get some of the same species that you can see a difference in size, but these two, to me, seem to be pretty much of a muchness. The female might be fractionally larger, just looking at their body sizes, but there's very little between it. And it's not necessarily a common thread for the different species of dung beetle. And for the most part, they are relatively similar in size. There's not a huge sexual dimorphism. I wonder what was going through his mind when he decided that that was not the place to be. Oh, no. Do you think he got camera shy? Because he seems to have found himself a perfect spot behind a tree. Let's just wait for a moment, see if he keeps pushing. Just the movement of the leaves. They are so cool. I was saying I can't remember the exact conversion. I remember reading up about it a while ago. The comparison in strength between if a rhino beetle, the strongest beetle in the world, if it was the size of a human, and if I remember correctly, it's something like being able to pick up 80 tons in weight. A human being able to pick that up. That's the equivalent of what a rhino beetle can pick up and what it can do. So they are unbelievably strong. I've lost him now, it's gone behind those guari bushes. Can't really go much further off the road. I've just poked my nose out off the road itself to get a better view, but I can't really drive off-road to get a better view of them. Let me try going this way. And then, Mauricia, I will answer your question. Sorry, that wasn't meant to be so quizzical. Have you got any kind of a view? Don't think so. Oh well, it was fun while it lasted. Mauricia, you want to know when it comes time for the larvae to hatch, will they dig their way out of the dung ball? As far as I know, in that species of dung beetle, I'm not 100% sure, but I think with this species of dung beetle, what they'll actually do is hatch, eat the dung ball, obviously, and then pupate in the dung ball itself and then break open as in their adult dung beetle form. That's as far as I know with this particular plum-coloured species of dung beetle. There's a whole load of different species. There's some that focus on predator or carnivore scat, which are ones that you shouldn't touch. These ones are absolutely perfectly fine to touch. There's some that bury straight down from the dung pile. There's some, obviously, a lot of the species that roll these balls and find a nice appropriate hidden spot, and it has to be a good spot. He's done very well wherever he is. He's vanished now. He's done very well in terms of choosing a place that's actually quite hidden and secure, because dung beetle larvae is a jackpot for things like mongooses and in particular honey badgers. Honey badgers absolutely love them. They can sniff them out, dig them out, crack open the hard casing around the dung ball and eat the larvae. And you often find, I think there might even be one in the tent. I'm trying to remember now if there's one in the tent. We found them before, but examples of old dung balls where they've been broken open by honey badgers and the larvae eaten. Oh well. I think he's started burying himself. Unfortunately, I can't get a different position. While we go off in search of other exciting signs of summer, let's go across to Byron, who's on foot and looking for something interesting for you.
So it sounds like it's all happening at the moment. Little cubs around, and Jamie spending time with the dung beetles. Wonderful to see a lot of those dung beetles. Now I'm just walking around and having a look for certain little tracks. Now I've just seen one over here, which I do think I know what this is from. If you look closely, you can see there's a little track or two track heading across the sand, and what this is most likely from is a millipede that's walked across the road. And what's happened is, so the one line is the one line of feet and the other line is the other line of feet. So a little millipede that's walked all along here. Oh, and I can hear that red-crested coron. Did you all hear that? It just started calling up ahead. We might still be able to see it. Not sure. They are quite secretive birds. And if they do hide in the scrub, it's very difficult to see them. Trying to look what other tracks we can find. It's always nice to walk around and look at tracks. There's a lot of zebra tracks around here. Let's see if I can find a nice clear one for you. There's some buffalo tracks here. We're going some buffalo tracks that have crossed the road. Here's one over here. Buffalo track. Another one over there. So that's one thing that we need to look out for while being on a walk is buffalo. Don't want to bump into one of those. And just see over here. This is interesting. Something's had a little dig. Oh wow, look at this, everyone. Look at this. Look at this. Something's dug over here and it's managed to dig out a scorpion. You see that? Look at the remains of the pincers. It's quite a large pincer, 2 large pincers. Some ants just feeding on it. Let me pick this up for you and just show you. Look at that. It's a very, very large pincer. Now I wonder what would have dug this out. Ooh. Let's see if we can find any tracks around here. Possibly a civet, maybe. Oh, look at that. Wonderful. It's interesting what you can find while looking. Oh, I wonder if you can actually see this. This is really interesting. Is if you have a look very, very closely, can you see those little hairs on the exoskeleton of the scorpion? Now the scorpions are covered in these little hairs, and that's what they pick up on the vibrations of any insects that are walking around that they're trying to perhaps catch. And last night we managed to spot a little scorpion, the Pistacanthus scorpion in the tree, and I mentioned or spoke about how the scorpions sit with their pincers hanging. Let's have a look. It's a leopard, everybody. Just heard a leopard calling. Let's go have a look. So as I was saying, with those little hairs, the scorpions pick up on the vibrations, and as insects walk past, then they'll go and try and grab them. Alright, that's not too far, everyone. That didn't sound too far at all. That's very, very exciting. So we've got to keep our eyes open now. Let's see. Now we did see tracks of a male leopard earlier. This is possibly a male leopard that called now. Not sure which one. Maybe Tingana. Who knows? This is exciting. So we're trying to walk quite quickly now. Let's see if we can find this leopard. So the whole time we do have to try to keep our voices down a little bit. Don't want to scare the leopard off. And this leopard will definitely pick up on us while we're walking. And usually they do get a bit shy. They're very skittish generally. They may move off unless you surprise them. So while we're walking, just having a good scan around, keeping our eyes open. I don't see any tracks yet, so I'm just looking on the ground. This is very exciting, everyone. Isn't this great? It would be wonderful to find a leopard on foot this morning. And the thing is, earlier we heard those lions fighting with one another, and the lions being chased by those elephants. And I think you got to see some of those elephant and the lions. But so I'm just having a look here quickly. But we heard them, but it was actually quite far. Pardon? Oh, right. And so we're just at Gowrie Repeater now, the repeater station. So as I was saying, is we heard those lions, we heard that elephant, but they were very, very far. But yet we could still hear them. They sounded a lot closer than they actually were. So sound does travel quite a lot in the bush, especially when you're on foot like this. Very close, everyone. Very, very close. It's very, very close. Quickly, I think we might have found this leopard. Wow, this is exciting. Alright, so that sounded like it was coming probably about 50 meters ahead of us. Let's see, hopefully this leopard isn't walking too quickly. That wonderful rasping sound of that leopard giving that call. Just want to scan quickly here. Some binoculars, sometimes easier to spot things while they're moving. Let's try to catch up with Herbie a bit. Alright, let's have a look, everybody. This is very exciting. It really is not often you get to walk after a leopard calling to try and find it. Let's just watch here. It is quite thick, and as we know, a leopard can disappear very, very quickly if they don't want to be seen. Now, I have tracked leopards before where, okay, this one is calling, so I'm assuming it's moving around, probably scent marking, and that giving that territorial call. But I've tracked leopards before where they'll go and lie in a bush, and you can walk right past them. It's incredible how quickly they can disappear if they don't want to be seen. So we do have to keep our eyes peeled and scan very, very carefully. Also, while we're walking, I'm trying. There's a honey guard at the top of the tree there. Now, that honey guard has possibly seen the leopard. It sounds like an alarm call. Let's follow the honey guard, everyone. It's a greater honey guard. Oh, it's going that way. But now, I'll tell you why I'm laughing is because the honey guard will lead you to honey. They'll fly and they'll want you to follow them. And while you're doing that, because they will take you to a beehive so that you can open it up and get some of the honey out, and they'll feed on the little bees and some of the honey. Still haven't seen a track yet, everyone, of this leopard that we're looking for. Honey guard's still flying ahead of us. What I might do is head up on top of this termite mound and scan around, because that's often helps, is to try to get a vantage point. Just try have a look. Let me have a quick look up here. Alright, so while we look for this leopard, Brent still has leopards. Let's head over to Brent and we'll carry on our search around here.
Now, look at this. Young Hosana is here. I haven't seen any sign of little Shongile, but there's alarm calls everywhere. So, and you're not going to believe where young Hosana was. Oh, look where he's going. He's going to come right past us again. Sorry, that's my fat head. Hello, mister. And he's going to go right round. He came down and lay in the shade of the car a little bit earlier. Oh, that sounds like Shongile's on her way, listening to the Franklin on the other side. But now he's probably a foot, less than a foot. There we go. He's using our car for shade. Isn't that amazing? He's absolutely 100% comfortable in our presence. Like, well, it's quite hot, and the shade everywhere else is patchy, but your vehicle is nice, and it gives a nice solid piece of shade, so I'm going to come sleep right next to you. Isn't this incredible? Now, why don't you guys tweet one word about how this particular little leopard sighting makes you feel. And Eggsy's just going to pull out. I want to show you. He is so close to the vehicle that I have to lean like this. There we go. I still can just see him. Look at him looking at me. Hello, mister. Isn't that amazing? So tweet with the hashtags #ForAlive one word. How does this make you feel? Oh, there we go. He's on the move again. I mean, to wake up every day and do a job you love and spend time with the incredible wild animals. Now, Susan is saying, we always say that this is a big open area with no fences, and she says, well, then why is there electric? Oh, I'm sure Shongila's on her way. You can hear those Franklin going nuts around there, and I'm pretty sure that's where she is. She's probably on the move. We can't see her just yet. Now, Susan, there you saw the fence, and that's what you were wondering about. Susan, that's just a fence around a house. So it's mostly to keep elephants, buffalo, and hippo out of gardens, because they can be very dangerous, very close to human habitation. The leopards, as we saw this morning, well, Hosana was inside the garden. They are able to get through that fence without any trouble whatsoever. Oh, he's off he goes again. Where are you off to, mister? There he pops round. Oh, he's coming even closer. So close, Eggsy is only getting a bit of him. So now he's less than a foot from our tyre. He's smelling the tyre. Eggsy says, I can't see. I'm going to have to lean. Oh, where is he? I can't even see him when I lean forward. I can just see his tail. Oh, so special. Kula obviously keeping a close eye. What is that little nonsense up to? I'm pretty sure wherever Shongile's around here somewhere. There we go, he's coming back again. Pacing up and down. Headbutt mom. Well, we've got some one-word tweets in. Dump Rat Dave says Bazinga. What is Bazinga? Do you know what Bazinga is?
It's on Big Bang Theory.
It's on Big Bang Theory. Okay. I don't think I've watched that one. Do you like it? Oh, Eggsy says eh. But, okay, well, Bazinga, as Sheldon apparently says on Big Bang Theory, and Tracy says amazing. There he goes again. Well, at least this time he's staying a little bit further away so we can see him. Where are you off to, Trouble? I'm going to go harass some Franklins. I can hear a Franklin in that thicket somewhere. Well, From Person would like to know whether I'm more nervous with no door. Not at all, actually. the majority of the vehicles I've used in the bush over my life didn't have a door. It makes it easier for tracking. It's a shame that Franklin's gone right up to the top of the tree. Franklins generally don't like being in trees. They prefer being on the ground, but he's right in the top of that marula. I can't see him, I can just hear him saying up there, oh, Mom's calling for Hosanna to come back, and it looks like he's listening, sort of. Where is he now? So the reason I don't have a door anymore is because apparently I'm too big to turn around and talk to you easily, and also it was turning and twisting was giving me a slight back problem, which is now gone because I can turn around and not have my knees stopped by the door. Oh, don't do that. Well, that tells you that the electric fence is definitely not on. The leopard cub is biting the electric fence. If that was on, I think there would be a very different reaction. Now, quite often what happens with these electric fences is that when they're first put up, it's to teach elephants and buffalo and hippo. Once they've touched it a few times, that's that. And they don't really touch it again. So they are able to remember that it's a bad idea. My favorite creature in electric fences is warthogs. Now, warthogs, even when they know there's an electric fence, and on our family farm, we used to grow lucerne and some other things, and to keep the warthogs and other animals out. So half the farm was a game farm and half the farm was a commercial farm. And the warthogs would look at the fence. They knew there was an electric strand, but they really wanted to get to the nice stuff on the other side of the fence that they're not supposed to eat. And what they do is they go, squeak, 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 squeal like you have no idea, before they touch the fence. And then when they ran through the fence, completely silent. It was very funny, warthogs and fences. Okay, I wonder where Shongile is. Hopefully she's around. Hello Sarah, who's 10 years old. Sarah would like to know, what is a leopard's favourite meal? Well, Sarah, it's the one they catch. No, I'm only playing. But their general, it depends, male or female. But the most common prey for a male leopard is probably impala or inyala or bushbuck. And in this, our case with Karula, it's normally steenbok or duiker. But impala, they have a very varied diet. I'm just trying to see. This is where that Franklin was alarm calling, if I can spot Shongile around here somewhere. But they have a very varied diet. Oh, there's another. Yes, there we go. They're saying all the Franklins, very upset, not in their normal position on the ground. They moved up into the trees. I'll show you now. Can you see him, Eggs?
Yeah.
I'm going to go forward a bit more still, I think. There we go. There he is. There's the Franklin in that with all the leopards. He's decided it's much safer. A little bit to the right. Or you seen a different one? Oh, it's a different one. I saw another one. There's a couple of them. Now, it's going to be interesting to see if young Hosanna decides they're worth chasing. Sometimes young male leopards do that. And I know one of our favorites, Sindile, he was a great one at trying to chase Franklins in trees. And testiculars and waxbills and everything he could find when he was left alone. Carla is wondering, if Hosanna was very hungry, would he fetch Shongile himself? No, not necessarily. No, Shongile would only really be fetched by her mom. I'm pretty sure she's here. Oh. Those Franklin are panicking. Oh, watch, keep wide, just in case Hosanna goes. No, he's not going to. And he's got, oh, look at her hissing at Hosanna. There we go. Now, where is Shongile? I'm sure she's around here somewhere. It's so nice to see them this far north inside Djuma again. And yesterday when we were sitting with Hosanna and Shongile, ooh, he thought about it. He looked at the Franklin, he thought about it. She's still calling, looking for Shongile, who's proving to be naughty and independent. I wonder if she's also in the Moorman's garden. Oh, it's just been such a wonderful morning. Now Milko is wondering, do I think she could be stuck in the garden? Not at all, Milko. She's a very agile young lass, and I'm quite sure if she is inside. I'm not 100% sure she is inside the garden, but if she is, she'll get out with no problem. Oh, it looks like we've got another visitor coming. Hello, Mr. Hosanna. Are you coming to utilize, well, we don't have any shade where we parked here, I'm sorry. I wasn't thinking. The only shade is in the front of the vehicle. Is he going to go lie down where we can't see him at all? Oh dear, that's exactly what he's done, I think. Yes, he's lying down, literally there. I mean, about this far from the front of the car. I'm just going to kneel so I can have a look. Isn't that amazing? He's so close. So while we wait for him to move, for Shongile to appear, let's go see how Byron's leopard search on foot is going.
You get audio now? Okay. Alright, so sorry, there we go, fixed that everybody, maybe just got some wires loose there. So as I was saying, we're still checking this area, we haven't heard anything, we haven't heard another leopard call, haven't seen any tracks or anything. This honey guide that we saw earlier is constantly calling and wanting us to follow it. We're just in two minds now if we do try and continue looking for the leopard or not. Now the problem is that in my experience tracking and finding and following leopards, it's very difficult to follow a leopard, especially if they are walking and they're scent marking, they're calling. Unless you've got the tracks and you can follow the tracks, a leopard can disappear very, very quickly. It might not be worth our while trying to carry on looking for this leopard. We're still in the area, so if it calls again, we may have a better idea of which direction she or he has gone. Not sure if it's a male or female. We think possibly a female by that very short call that she gave. It wasn't a long rasping sound, so possibly a female, but we're not sure. As I said, we haven't seen any tracks or anything, so it's difficult for us to tell whether it was a female or not. This as I said, this honey guide is very intent on getting us to follow it. So I think what we might do is we're going to carry on trying to follow the honey guide a little bit. But as I said, we are still in this area. If the leopard calls again, we are then able to try and find it. But if it was moving through a thicket, scent marking, with us following it, they'll probably disappear quite quickly. All right, so let's head back to Jamie. She is in the area too. Let's try and get an update from her and see what she has.
I was actually on my way to this area as it was, but as soon as I got the call from Herbie and Byron that they could hear a leopard sawing very, very close to them, we've raced across and we're now patrolling the boundary of the block that they are in. So at the moment I'm right on the western edge of Djuma. Sorry, hold on a second. Jandre has spotted something. What have you spotted, Jandre? Tracks. Where? Am I being blind? Oh, there. There we go. Very nicely done, Jandre. Very, very nicely done. Beautifully done. And that is exactly what we are looking for. Fresh and crisp as the day is young. We'd better go right away, and I'd actually better start listening to the Arathusa comms to make sure whether or not this leopard has been found already. These are such fresh tracks. Where exactly am I? Yeah, we can do this. We can go around. I was going to go straight through the block. Let's just check carefully for him. They are so crisp and new that we are the first people to drive over them. So he's in here somewhere. Well done, Jandre. All spotted. Okay, well, we can pass that message on to Herbie and Byron that the wonderful Tingana is on Arathusa. Let's go see if we can't catch up with him. And male leopards can move unbelievably quickly when they want to. There's the impala. They're alert. They've obviously seen him come through, but they're no longer alarm calling, which means that he probably came through, I would guess, about 5, maybe 10 minutes ago. They've had long enough to no longer be directly on edge. They're not alarm calling. They're still a little bit skittish though. Okay, sorry, we're going to move quite fast. We're going to try and catch up with him now. Alright, Tingana, are you going to Red Dam or are you going into the awful block? Usually his route would take him straight towards Red Dam and then through the drainage system. So we're just going to check carefully along here. Sorry, I'm not looking at you, just because I am concentrating on not driving over these tracks. Although that's okay, I've got Jandre on the back to help me. Hey, Jandre. Morning stations, if anyone can copy me. We had audio of Tingana about 10 minutes ago and it is very fresh in Kunzo crossing Triple M towards Knobthorne Open. Very slowly here. There's a fallen log in this area that tricks me every single time I drive along this road. Every single time I think it's a leopard. He's deposited one large scat by the smell of things somewhere here. I can smell it. Where is the leopard responsible for it? Now, safari, we've spoken earlier about following the calls of Tingana, and you wanted to know whether or not leopards can distinguish the calls of other leopards, so basically distinguish individuals. Yes, as far as I'm concerned, they absolutely can. I'm very strongly of the opinion that leopards and lions can identify individuals, just in the same way that we can hear an individual's voice on a radio or a telephone, or, from behind a closed door, and know exactly who it is that we're hearing. If it's somebody we know, of course. So yes, I think each and every leopard in the area knows each and every other leopard, and I think they recognize each other's calls. Wind's blowing from this way. I'm just trying to sniff this out and figure if he has crossed the road or not. I haven't seen any tracks. I'm quite wary with Tingana on foot, not because he's a threat, just because he often runs away. He doesn't run, he slinks off very quickly. He's very difficult to find on foot. You kind of have to bump into him somewhere along the line. Okay. Right, we've also got some of the other vehicles coming in to give us a hand. Sorry about that. I'm going to try and find whatever it is that's so smelly, but a leopard in the hand is worth two in the, the whole expression. And let's go back over to Brent and his leopards.
Here we go. We're still here. Hosana is still wandering around us. Yours said it looks like he might have spotted the meat. He's not going there. He's behind the vehicle again, where we can't see him, so we'll stick with Queen Mum. Still no sign of little Shongile popping up yet. I'm sure she's around here somewhere. I'm almost surprised she hasn't snuck onto the carcass while these two have been around here. Oh, Karula spotted vultures. I saw that quick look up. Quite a lot of vultures in the air. Obviously there's quite a few dead buffalo around, so lots of vultures about. Aha! Eggsy, don't forget where that poo is. Hosana has defecated behind us, and I need to collect some of his scat later, obviously when the leopards move off towards the carcass. Here we go, coming back past us. They're still quite well fed from that diker. Oh, what have you spotted, mister? Oh, he's tired now. Too much walking around in this heat. I wonder where his sister is. As we've had such a fantastic morning with these incredible leopards. There are apparently quite a few vehicles waiting to come in and have a look at them as well. So we're going to be leaving shortly. We will be back here on the Sunset Safari, that's a guarantee, to spend more time with these incredible leopards. But as it heats up, and not much shade around the tree that the carcass is in, so they might sleep. Oh, she's getting upset with him. Stop putting your tail in my face, you young rapscallion. She keeps looking back in towards the garden, and where those Franklin are going on incessantly. I think let's go have a quick look, see if we can spot Shongile. those Franklin have not stopped, and these two are far enough away. Okay, so the Franklins are alarming just over there. I'm going to go see if we can find young Shongile before we leave. I'm pretty certain she's still here, judging by all the alarm calls. Okay, so Hosanna appeared out of the garden over here. Let's just see if we can see on the other side. You can still hear that of the Franklin. Let's just look carefully, quickly here. I think she's in here somewhere. Whoopsie. I see her on that termite mound. So butterfly, and a lot of new viewers are wondering, see, that's definitely Shongile's tracks, the smaller of the cub tracks. You can just make them out here. It's in a bit of a difficult spot, so I can see her tracks here. And I will answer your question now. I'm just trying to have one last look. So a lot of you are wondering why we would collect the scat or the poo. There's a very important project that's going on, run by NGO for predator conservation called Panthera. Now there's two different projects that are sort of running simultaneously with the scat. One is to look for the genetic markers for male leopards in the scat. So we always know who the mom is. It's not always we know who the dad is, because the females will mate with quite a lot of different male leopards. But the more important of the two projects is to do with the illegal trade in leopard skins. There's a church in South Africa called the Shengi Church, and they, oh, I thought I saw it, it's not here, and they traditionally wear leopard skins at their church functions. And the church has grown so much that it's not feasible anymore. And of course, if you wear skins every Sunday, they're going to get worn and eventually need to be replaced. So Panthera have started an incredible program where they actually have convinced quite a few of the elder members of the church and a lot of members of the church to swap their proper leopard skins for synthetic skins. Still looks like a leopard skin, but of course it's not real. And so the genetic markers there are to see which areas of Africa are being hit the hardest with leopard poaching. And in their first 10 or 20,000 skins that they tested, there was about 4 or 5 of those skins that had genetic markers that were related to leopards from the Sabi Sands. More than likely moved out into the community areas, probably young males, dispersal males. But the most interesting thing that's come out of that research so far is that almost 80% of those skins come from northern Mozambique and southern Tanzania. So that's obviously an area that Panthera is putting quite a lot of focus on when it comes to leopard conservation, predator conservation in general. So that's why we collect the scat. No, it's not her. So we can see what's going on. Okay, so we're going to leave these leopards, let someone else have a chance to spend some time with these incredible creatures. I think I might go have a swing past those male lions, see if they've moved at all. While we do that, let's go back to Byron, who is following a honey guide.
So look at this, everyone. This honey guide brought us to what appears to be, there we go, there's a bee that's just gone in there to a beehive. You can hear the bird's right above us now. The honey guide has come back to us, knows that this is where the bees are. But I feel quite bad for this little bird, because there's no way that I'm able to obviously disturb the bees. For one, I don't want to, and also it's in this tree stump, so you would really struggle to break that open to get to that honey. So unfortunately, none of us will benefit from it, but it is so interesting, and isn't it wonderful how this bird led us straight to this beehive? It is incredible. So there's definitely honey in there, and I can see little bees flying in and out. So there are quite a lot of bees around here. But that is really, really fascinating. Now, I know there's some wonderful stories regarding the honey guide and them leading you to honey or to the beehives. Now, usually what they do is they do lead honey badgers, and I'm sure you've all heard of the honey badger. And it's probably my favorite animal. Incredible little creature. And these honey badgers will follow these honey guides and lead them, will be led to beehives like this. But what the honey badger is equipped with to help it is these very powerful and sharp claws, and they will tear open bark and break open branches and that to try and get to the beehive. They'll feed on the honey. The bees, the honey badgers have got very loose, quite thick skin, so the stings of the bees don't bother them as much. And then what happens is, with the honey badger obviously digging and opening the hole, the honey guide will then benefit from that too, feed on some of the insects and get some of the honey. So it is an incredible relationship between these two. Now, I have heard some stories from some Shangaan trackers that I've worked with in the past, and Judas tracker that I worked with for many years. He used to tell me that as a young boy growing up, he would follow these honey guides and he would get honey. And but he said with their culture, they believe that you've got to be very careful. So if you are led to a beehive and you take honey and you don't leave any for the honey guide or for the bird, that is a very, very bad idea, because what can happen is the next time that honey guide sees you, it may call you and get you to follow it, but it may take you to a hole where there might be a black mamba in there. So you need to be very careful, and you need to pay your dues and say thank you to the honey guide. But unfortunately, and hopefully the honey guide sees that we're not getting any honey either, so there's nothing for us and nothing for the bird. So hopefully it doesn't take us to a black mamba next time. But isn't that incredible? Really fascinating. And we walked really far following this bird, about 1 kilometer, I would say. So that was very interesting, very, very interesting. And it sounded like, well, that Jamie had tracks of that male leopard crossing onto Arathusa, and that's possibly the same leopard that we heard. I doubt there would have been another leopard in that area. So I think what happened was we must have startled the leopard, or definitely heard us or saw us perhaps, who knows. And what I think it did is actually turned around and headed back in the opposite direction where we just came from. So it was... Oh, and I think Jamie has actually found the owner of the tracks that she had. That's awesome.
It actually was much more of a combined effort between Doug and myself finding the owner of the tracks, and Doug eventually spotted him resting up on this termite mound. The wonderful, massive Tingana, looking very stately, and actually rather sleepy. What a tremendous amount of ground he's covered in the last... When did Byron first call in that leopard sound? Probably about 40 minutes ago or so. And he's just obviously been on a mission to get into one of his favorite areas, which is very, very close to Red Dam. And he's probably going to pop there for a drink in the not too distant future. But for now... he's having a very pleasant doze. I enjoy spending time with all of our leopards, but I really enjoy spending time with Tingana in particular. His scratches healed up nicely on his nose. I noticed that a couple of days ago when we were with him. And he always... it's completely I mean, it really is anthropomorphizing this, but Tingana always looks as though he's got the weight of the world on his shoulders, like a slightly overstressed businessman who's got a family to support and slight troubles there. He just has that slightly concerned look all of the time, and that's purely my impression of his face. It's not absolutely not the case. He's not a particularly concerned leopard. It's just the way that his facial expression to me comes across. And there he's dozing away. Those massive paws that were responsible only a few moments ago for leaving the tracks in the sand. Awesome. I'm glad that this leopard search actually paid off. You usually know when you hear a leopard and you're relatively close. You can almost guarantee that you're going to find them. It's just a matter of persistence and hard work, provided, of course, they are one of the Sabi Sands leopards, so one of the more comfortable ones around vehicles. If it's a leopard that doesn't want to be seen, that's an entirely different story. I love seeing him resting up on this termite mound, but it would be nice to see him walking around as well, just to get an idea as to whether or not he's eaten. It just helps us build up a picture in our own minds as to what's going to happen with the animal over the next few hours. If he's empty-bellied, of course you can never fully predict because they are such opportunistic animals. That one will give you a fright, boy. Little bit. What a day we have had. 2 separate lion sightings, 2 separate leopard sightings, and 1 very talented honey guide. I have to say that is the most amazing story. I'm very, very impressed, and I'm hoping that Byron will figure out some way of rewarding that particular bird. And we've, of course, got to say a big thank you to Byron and Herbie, without whom we would not have found this particular leopard. Is there anything more beautiful than a leopard lying in that greenery in dappled morning sunlight? I'm not entirely sure there is. The one thing I have noticed while we were looking for Tingana is just how much denser this vegetation has become over the last week or so, and getting harder and harder for us to be able to see into the bush and spot the animals. And it's all part and parcel. Every season has its challenges, and this is the particular challenge of summer. But we haven't been doing too badly for leopards. Between Karula and her offspring, and now Tingana, the most probably the father of Karula's 2 cubs. For those of you that are new to these safaris, you're probably looking at Dad. It's impossible for us to say with certainty, and that's just because, of course, the animals are, well, they're secretive in their lives, and we only get to see a percentage of their day-to-day existence. So Karula could well have mated and would have mated with other male leopards. But there is a good chance. My money's on Tingana, and one day we will get the DNA results of the various leopard cubs, and we'll be able to tell for absolute certain which is which and which father is the father of which cub. But my money's on Tingana. Hosana even looks a little bit like him. He's, of course, the dominant male leopard that we see the most frequently. Every now and again we see his rival, the Anderson male, whose territory borders on the sort of western side of his territory. An absolutely massive male leopard, although I reckon there's only, I would say probably on one of Tingana's good days, there's probably only about 10 or so kilograms between the 2 of them. I reckon they are relatively evenly matched, and Tingana's got plenty of experience on his side. And then quarantine to the southeast in Shumbambalana. All in all, Tingana actually has a massive territory that extends up north of where we are into Simbambili, through Arathusa, south towards Hoffman's, and all the way into Cheetah and Torchwood. It's an absolutely massive area and encompasses Karula's territory, Shadow's territory, bits of Salahesh's territory, Tundi's territory, Shaluva's to an extent, although of course Mvula spends most of his time up in that area. A beautiful, peaceful scene we have stumbled upon. Hey, Mr. T. Mr. T, I wonder if you know, wonder if you realized just how famous you would have become over the last week for depositing a very large surprise at the end of a TV show. It was really the perfect end to a rather interesting afternoon, that Tingana moment. For those of you that didn't perhaps get to see our television appearance a couple of days ago, we had one or two glitches, one or two things went wrong, as they do out here in the African bush, and Tingana spent most of the 2 hours pretty much like this. Sometimes he rolled over and showed the other side, but for the most part he was largely positioned exactly as he is now. And in the last, I promise you, last 2 minutes of the television show, as we were doing our finishing up and doing our thank yous, Tingana gets up, stretches majestically, walks into the road next to the vehicle, talking softly, he's right next to us, all that excitement. What's he going to do now for the last few seconds? Oh, that's what he's going to do. Defecate right next to the vehicle. I had such a good chuckle at that. We all did. It's just the joys of live wildlife filming. Hey, Mr. T. Thank you for providing a really solid piece of amusement for us for a long time to come. Aww. I also think that for the massive male leopard that he is, there's something very sweet about his face. I feel the complete opposite about the Anderson male. I find the Anderson male he's incredible. He is such a magnificent leopard, but there's something quite brutish about his face. And I mean, this is purely from an anthropomorphic point of view, just from what we see. And I don't know if it's Anderson's eyes, but Tingana has a much gentler face. Maybe it's just that I've spent the most time with Tingana. Unfortunately, I arrived after Mvula's reign over Djuma, so I've hardly really got to spend all that much time with him. The male leopard that I've spent the most time with has been Tingana. While Tingana snoozes away, let's go from one leopard sighting to another and see what Brent's up to.
Whoops-a-daisies. No, I decided the lines were so flat and steepy that I was going to go try see if I could find that elephant herd. And voila! As we came across, we found them. I heard them in the distance. So Eggsy and I decided we need some Ellies in our life. I'll try to get closer to them now. You see them, Eggs?
Yeah.
There we go. Hello, Ellies. Here comes a baby from the right. Little one. Oh, no, sweetness! I'm hoping they come down into the Mwati River. There we go. It's always wonderful when a plan works out, and it's not often that all your plans work out in one morning, but today they have. Moving along the edge of the riverbank. Here comes the little one, keeping up with Mom. Let's just move a bit further forward. Oh, no, Mom stopped. We'll stop. Thought she was going to keep moving. Found something she likes there. Now, the reason I decided to go after the elephants than rather stay with the lions, now that the rains have come, we're not going to be spoilt as much as we were with elephants everywhere. We might have days like that, but not weeks. And with the rain, the Ellie's going to spread out quite a lot. Now, that is natural and normal. So, quite often in the dry season, we have lots of elephants all together, and then in the wet season they spread out. And that gives a lot of areas time to recover from extensive elephant feeding. I'm going to try and get a bit closer. Oh, decision time, eggs. What do you think? I think they're going to come down over here. So I'm going to go park myself in the spot where I think they're going to come down. And just wait for them. Here they come. Looks like this might be quite a large herd. Now, as it gets warmer, we might be spoilt on the sunset safari with some splashing in the mud that's around. I always love a good elephant mud bath. Okay, here they come, eggs. Hi, guys. Here we go. So we're right at the edge of the elephant path, so I think they are going to move through towards us. That is a very young baby. Still pink on the ears. Oh, sure. Couple of weeks old. I love them so much. Such amazing little creatures. Here comes Mom. Oh, there she goes. Oh, don't leave me, Mom. And just spreading out through this riverine area into the thickets feeding. We've got the terrible teens on their way towards us, coming down the riverbed. There are 3 of them. I do love that noise. Now, one of the funniest stories, and quite a nice story, when I used to live in Botswana, we regularly had hundreds of elephants around the camps at night, and of course we all know that elephant purr, so to speak, that low rumble. And often first time safari goers, first night sleeping in a tent, well, a tent's oh, don't fall off the edge there, little one. A tent is a bit of exaggeration. It was a massive canvas house, the lodges in Botswana. And look at that. Clever. Getting down on the knee to get to those succulent little new shoots. And the first time safari goes, look at that. He's got it. Come on. There we go. Well done. First time safari goers would often, when you went to fetch them in the morning from their rooms, take them through for tea and coffee before morning game drive, they would say, you're not going to believe it, but the lions were right outside our tent last night purring. And of course it was just the rumble of elephants. Lions don't purr, as we know. And this is one of the incredible things about Safari Live, is we are able to share our knowledge over such a wide base with all you incredible people who join us on these live stories. Oh, look, there's another baby. I love it when they run. They look so silly. And I think in about 2 minutes we're going to be completely engulfed in elephants. And that's one of my favorite places to be, surrounded by a herd of elephants. No, I don't recognize this herd. Well, I haven't seen any very recognizable females from this herd yet. So we can't see all of them just yet. Oh, found asparagus. Yum, 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 yum. Wild asparagus. Gone. Down the gullet. That was the end of that asparagus. Oh, there's another one. Oh, roots and all. Oh, here comes the little one. Another tiny baby in this herd. Oh, you're going to get in trouble. So that's quite a young mother, and those are the terrible teens around there. So out of those 4 adult elephants there, 3 of those are young bulls, and only the female and the tiny baby there. See how she's shepherding it with all those nonsenses around. And at that age, it can be a little bit too boisterous for the babies. Oh, there we go. Mom just swacked him. Oh, look at this. We've got elephants in front of us, and we've got elephants behind us. As I said, we're about to get completely surrounded, and what a wonderful place to be. Oh, yes, you're very scary, Mrs. Sorry. Mrs. Now, James is wondering, why are baby elephants pink around the ears? Well, what happens is that means they've been born very recently, and they haven't got a suntan yet. They probably lose that pinkness within the first month of being born. Let's just, where'd that little one go? Let's see if we can see that tiny little one. There it is there. Let's just move a little bit. Now, I don't know this herd. I don't recognize any of the individuals, so very important, when I start the vehicle, I let it run for a few seconds, and I don't want to be making any fast or loud movements with the vehicle, although I'm pretty certain this is a nice relaxed herd. And one must always respect, even if it's a herd you know. They might have had a bad day, there might have been a death, there might have been a must bull that was causing trouble. So even though it could be a herd we normally can sit right next to, it's always very important to show respect. Go slowly and just watch the different behavior of the elephants. Now we're going to go across quickly to Jamie, because I think there's something crawling all about on her.
There's nothing like reaching up to brush what you thought was hair away from your ear, only to feel it crawling along the lobes of your ear. I have absolutely no idea what I'm looking at because I can't see it, really. And despite my incredible abilities of observation, this is one thing that is going to absolutely defeat me. It's on my hat now. Oh, how wonderful. That's much more convenient than my ear. That would explain why the tremendous tickle. Oh, it's gone. Oh, that's terrible. I was hoping we were going to be able to identify it. I remember these from childhood. We used to collect them when we were kids. We used to go and catch them off the flowers. And we didn't hurt them. We just used to gather them all together. And the name escapes me now. I'm very glad it's not a blister beetle, though. And that yellow coloration can often be, an indication of something that is dangerous. So, for example, the twin spot beetles and the blister beetles that secrete the horrible acid that is capable of burning your skin, they carry warnings just like that, bright yellow and black colors. Now this one I think is it's a mimicker. So it's not actually dangerous. Its coloration is just built to mimic those things like the ground beetles. Of course, I will get home and read up on it and find out that they actually secrete an incredibly painful acid, at which point I will be very grateful that it didn't deposit it in my ear. Somehow I feel that would have been most unpleasant. Have a look at the finest detail on its antenna. Almost feathered. It is actually really truly a marvel of nature. Thank you for not climbing into my ear. Oh, we're going off and we're gone. Very, very cool. It seems to be attracted to Gendre, actually. It keeps flying back straight towards him. It's going to come and get you, Gendre. It's aiming for your ear next. All right, let's take one last look at Tingana. We are going to have to pull out to make some room for some of the other vehicles. So we're going to be pulling out in the not too distant future. And we just thought we'd stop, have a quick look at him. I'm glad we managed to find him. Hopefully on the Sunset Safari we will be able to find him once again, if he doesn't move too far. But we are going to have to make space for some of the other vehicles. Not just yet, we've got 2 minutes and then we're going to leave. Thank you, Mr. T. Look at that dainty paw. Morning. One of my favorite things to do whenever guests arrive at a leopard sighting or any sighting, but particularly when you can see that they're new ones, is to watch the joy on their faces when they first spot that animal. It's one of my favorite things to watch out here, because of course half of our joy in this entire world is being able to share it with other people. So being able to see that facial expression as their face lights up and they realize perhaps their guides kept it a secret from them, or perhaps they didn't realize exactly what they were going to see, is nothing like that expression of joy. I love it. And amazement. And yes, it disappears slightly with seasoned safari goers, but never completely. There's always a light in the guest's eyes when they pull into a sighting like this. Okay, Sleepy, I think it's time for us to leave you. If you would be so kind as to remain sleeping there until the Sunset Safari, that would be very convenient. We didn't get back to the Nkuhumas this morning as I had planned, but that's the way things always go. It just goes to show it's never really worth actually even having a plan, because the wildlife of this area is going to completely turn it topsy-turvy. We're going to move out and we're going to return to the person or to the people that were actually in a large part responsible for this leopard sighting.
So isn't that wonderful? You got to see that beautiful male leopard, and I think that was the male leopard that, or the leopard at least that we heard. Remember I said we weren't sure if it was a male or female. We didn't have any tracks, but it was not far from where we were. And I think what happened is that male must have seen us, turned around and he headed back in the direction that we actually came. We just missed him. We didn't see him. But it's wonderful that Jamie got to see him and show you. That is really, really great. We've had a great morning. Not too much else has been going on. We've been kind of heading back to camp, but it was wonderful to follow that honey guide straight to the beehive and to see basically what it was wanting us to find. And luckily it wasn't a black mamba. As I said, I think it's a bit of a myth. I'm not sure. I don't know if it does happen, but we will be careful from now on because we didn't give it any honey or get any bees. We're actually not too far from that Karula sighting. I don't want to disturb it. I'm not going to head over there. There are still some vehicles in that area trying to view the youngsters that are still around there. So it's all been happening this morning. Leopards and lions, and there's a lot going on. And Brent got to show you those wonderful elephants. I'm very jealous. I do wish that I had seen some elephant on foot today, but unfortunately not. We heard them, but couldn't find them. So, what a great morning. I really enjoyed the walk, and I hope you did too. Saw some really interesting little things, little creatures and insects. So from myself and VM on camera, thank you VM, thanks very much, and Herbert as always. We'll see you this afternoon. Have a wonderful day everybody. Let's head back to Brent and see what he has got. Bye bye.
3, 2, 1.
So we've just tried to position to get another view of that gorgeous little baby. He's just behind the bush now. And some of the elephants in this herd are not looking super relaxed. So I'm just keeping our distance a little bit, and I'd rather let them come to us than us try force our presence on them. Now, you can just make him out through there. That's the little one there. Oh, he's going behind the bush a bit more. But the rest of the herd's crossing behind us. Oh, there's a little one who looks like it might be stalking up to us. Ah, we caught you. Yeah, you thought we didn't see you. Naughty, naughty. They are just such wonderful creatures. Absolutely fascinating creatures as well. I mean, the biggest mammal in the world, the African elephant. Yes, you are. One day, maybe. Now, little girl, so still got quite a bit of growing to do. So she's probably 12 or 13, maybe a little bit younger. Just making sure we know who's boss. Oh, come on, little one. Move out to where we can see you, tiny baby. Is he having another nap on the ground? It does look like he's having a nap. Let me just try and move a little bit further forward. Yes, yes, I know you're very big and tough and in charge. I'll even give you the opportunity to... I'll move away so you'll think you're winning and chasing me. See, you won. Oh, he's up again now, the little guy. But just sticking close to Mom. Exploring this amazing world around him. Doesn't have to worry about feeding, because obviously Mom is supplying milk for him. Oh, sure. So sweet. Look at this. She's actually moving towards us. So again, as I keep saying, it's... Oh, look at that. She's moving that dead branch so she can get to the fresh green grass underneath, giving her lots of nice nutrients to produce milk for that little bundle of joy. And speaking of milk, little one is after some milk. Thirsty, thirsty. Just a very, very tender little moment here between an elephant and her calf. Now she's carried that for 22 months. Oh, and the lovely bird calls on the edge of the Moati River. We hear that, a southern boo-boo. Definitely one of the best vocalizers we get here on Djuma. Oh, shake your head. At this age, they stick very close to Mom, and it looks like Mom's coming close to us now. So it's very important just to stay calm and keep still. Look at this, it's right next to us. Hi, Littly. Oh, you're just too cute. See, there's still a fine layer of fuzz on his back. You can actually see it with the light the way it is there now. There we go, a very young little one. That's just so special. I'm not going to move the car, even though we can't see any other elephants now. I don't want to give that mom a fright and give her any negative ideas or reactions from vehicles. So just going to keep still till she moves a little bit further away. And we can see some more elephants in the distance though. You see them, their eggs. As I said, it looks like quite a large herd and quite spread out as well. Okay, Mom's moved a little bit. I'm just going to turn the car around. Again, always let the vehicle run, watch her reaction, see that there's no sign of a negative reaction, and then we move. And Mom's having a bit of a dust bath. And baby's having a drink. Well, from a great grey beast here on Djuma, it sounds like Jamie's got a small grey beast, and I'm hoping she's got a very special surprise, and if she does, I'm very, very jealous. But from the Egbert and myself, what an incredible morning. Lion, leopard, elephant, and we haven't gone more than 1 kilometre from camp. So let's go back to Jamie for the last few minutes of drive.
No brand new little warties, but definitely an adorable looking family of the palest, I don't know what it is, the palest family of warthog I have ever seen in my entire life. I don't know what they've been rubbing in, perhaps they found a pile of ash somewhere, but they do look unbelievably pale in colour. Perhaps they just haven't been in mud over the last few days. And there we go, this is last year's piglets. So they are probably now close to about 9-10 months old. The tusks just starting to pop through. I always wonder about that. I always wonder if it actually is uncomfortable for them. It must be. It must be like teething, just worse. But this mommy pig, mommy warthog, has done an amazing job of managing to keep 3 of her youngsters alive. And the mortality rate is exceptionally high for little piglets. So you're looking at one very good warthog mother and has somehow managed to keep them all together. Interestingly enough, one of them is much smaller than the other 2, the one on the left. It's one of my favourite things about warthogs. It's the hair on either side of their cheeks when they're little. Like they've got big scary tusks, but they don't really. What a wonderful way to finish off what has been a fantastic sunrise safari, sitting with a family of one of my favourite animals to sit and watch, with their long eyelashes and their bristly skin. There's something exceptionally appealing about warthog. I don't think they are ugly at all. I think that's why she's smaller. It's a little female. Just trying to figure that one out. One last mystery for the duration of our sunrise safari. So what an exciting sunrise safari it has been. Warthogs, honey guides, lions, elephants, leopards. Definitely a good way to spend a Sunday morning. I could do this pretty much every Sunday morning. How do you feel, Jeandre? Yeah, it's a good way. It is Sunday, right? Yes, it is. It is. It is a good way to spend a Sunday morning. And it's also exciting prospects for this afternoon's sunset safari. Tingana hopefully still be around. Karula will. The lions most definitely will. All in all, it's several very good reasons to come back and join us in a few short hours. Oh, a big thank you to Jeandre for his wonderful camera work, as always. Well done, Jeandre. And actually, bravo to Jeandre for spotting the tracks crossing Triple M. A round of applause for you there, Jeandre. It was well spotted. To Rebecca and to Lou in final control, and most importantly, to all of you watching wherever you happen to be in the world, I hope that you have had fun on your sunrise safari and that you will be joining us again on the sunset safari. Bye-bye, everybody, and have a lovely day further.